Well, it's Wednesday, and you all know what that means. That means, once again, as you know, we have AEW Dynamite continue on with more of the Continental Classic. However, there is a, how to say, must win situation. Certain wrestlers are at risk to be eliminated from the tournament, but however, they continue on regardless of the point system they have. So we will see who is going to be out. Of course, we have the women's title on the line, and so is the TNT title as well. Then we move on, of course, as our second review. AEW is our final review. Our second review is going to be New Japan Pro Wrestling with more of World Tag League. This time we focus on the A block. However, this one concludes who will be in the finals in the A block. So we're going to see who's going to win. So that's going to be a very deciding factor. But some unfortunate things happen in one of the matches. And then we move on with our very first one we're going to review. It's going to be Stardom in their show after the big after Nagoya Big Winter at Wakayama. We're gonna have some interesting matches taking place as well. This show took place on the 3rd of November. And then we have some news updates to tell what's been going on with the world of pro wrestling, such as what events the promotions are throwing out, who's booked, what matches are set, any wrestlers that have been signed or departing from any promotion, or, of course, injured wrestlers. So, let's get ready for another episode of the Leaded Wrestle Zone.
Are you ready? Get up, get up! 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 Get up, get up!
Welcome, everybody, to the Leaded Wrestle Zone. All things that is pro wrestling with AEW, NXT, New Japan Pro Wrestling, Impact Wrestling, the National Wrestling Alliance, various promotions, wrestlers, matches, and championships. I am your host, J Rod here. So, if you are new to the channel, welcome. This is a channel where we do a lot of reviews from various promotions, not only here in the United States, but also in Mexico, Canada, Europe, Japan, the UK, anywhere in the world where pro wrestling is not as big, but it continues to grow. We also do discussion videos, talk about various topics such as, of course, the wrestlers, promotions, factions, storylines, whatever we want to talk about. We also do more news updates. If we're unable to put it on this episode, we can put it separately. We also do other cool stuff on this one, but you guys will enjoy. So if you like what you see, please subscribe to us. So click on that subscribe button. You'll be getting a lot of daily reviews and other cool stuff on this channel that we will do. And of course, if you like this episode, please give us a like on the like button or a nice comment down below. Now, let's begin with our very first review, and this is from Stardom's much recent show back on November 3rd, the day after Nagoya Big Winter. And this time they're in Wakayama. Our first match, we have Yuzuki taking on Mai Sakurai. Now, of course, in this type of match, we have the rookie taking on a better, much experienced wrestler. And of course, it was to expect that Mai Sakurai was going to win. She applied the Shining Buster. 1, 2, 3. It is done right there. Then we move on with Hanako versus Mina Shirakawa. Now, of course, there are some factors in this match. Hanako, who has a bit of a less experience as wrestler, has more experience, a little bit experience than Yuzuki, but she's facing against Mina Shirakawa, even though the advantage she has is her height and size. However, that doesn't stop Mina Shirakawa no matter what. She's been learning how to adapt new techniques in order to put away her opponents. As you know, we watched Mina Shirakawa grow up since she first came to Stardom back in October of 2020 all the way to now. And she picked up a very impressive victory by applying the implant DDT, and that was it. Next up, we have Momo Watanabe versus Yuna Mizumori. Interesting match. Factors this: you got Momo Watanabe, who has a fantastic striking ability. You've seen her kicks, you know that she will try to use that. But you look at Yuna Mizumori as a bit of a powerhouse type wrestler. She brings a lot of power into it, but that's not enough. However, it was Momo Watanabe with the B driver that put her away once and for all. But on a note, I was surprised that Momo Watanabe didn't even use the bat. Normally she gets away with it, but clearly not this time. Next up, we have trios action. We have Oedo Tai consisting of Ruka, Starlight Kid, and Natsuko Tora taking on DDM's Micah, Tekla, and Julia. Now, of course, we have seen the rivalry between these two teams before. However, I feel like in this particular match is Micah who's trying to build up momentum in this match. As you know, she'll be facing Zuzu Suzuki at Dream Queendom for to fight for the vacancy of the red belt. Now, however, she did pick up a good win. Now, Ruka, we have seen her be a powerhouse, but however, we've seen how much powerhouse, of course, Micah can throw in. However, it was the Michinoku driver that she applied that put Ruka away. 1, 2, 3, it was over. Next up, we have star members Saya Ida, Hanan, and Azuki taking on Megan Bane and, of course, the tag team duo um, Suzuki and May Sira. Now, we know these two have teamed up with Megan Bane before. However, as you know, Zuzu is walking in to try to build a momentum of herself as well, as she'll be facing Micah at Dream Queendom for the vacancy of the red belt. So that's going to be a bit interesting. Now, of course, there were going to be moments where I can witness Saya Ida would try to use her powerhouse maneuver, even though for her size against Megan Bane against her, but that wasn't the case. However, the smart thing happened is Zuzu and May were able to isolate Hanan and Azuki outside the ring by putting their weight to keep them pinned down just enough for Megan Bane to apply the F5. 1, 2, 3. It's over just like that. However, in the post match, Saya it seems like she still wanted to go at it against Megan Bane, but clearly not enough to try to take her down. Now, our main event, we have an 8-woman tag match. First up, we got Queen's Quest consistent of Miyu Amasaki, Azumi, Sayakami Tani, and Otama Eishida taking on Scandinavian Hurricane. She teams up with God's Eye consistent of Ami Sori, Shuri, and Mirai. Now you can see there's going to be a lot of interesting maneuvers with God's Eye. Seeing her Scandinavian Hurricane joining with God's Eye is interesting. Now keep in mind, back in Gold Rush, it was Scandinavian Hurricane that was in a match against Sudi, and it was pretty impressive. But however, Ami Sudi is determined to pick up momentum. As you know, she will be facing Sayori Onoi for the white belt again. As you know, last time these two ended in a time limit draw, so that kind of sets it on about that. However, it was Mirai with a big lariat onto Amasaki that picked up the win. However, Mirai was the one who's destined to close the show, but later Sudi reveals something interesting. Now, as you know, many times we have seen wrestlers join factions, especially if they're from outsiders. It just revealed that Scandinavian Hurricane is now a member of God's Eye, so that makes her the first foreigner to join God's Eye, which is a real interesting thing. Now, we know there's other God's Eye members. We have seen Tomoka Inaba, who we haven't seen since last year. Same thing with Nanami from Diana, and of course Saki Kashima, who's out on injury. So we will. Oh yeah, and Konami, of course, who we've seen her once in a while, but currently Konami is here in the States, participating in that American Yoshi promotion, Sukeban, and hopefully I get to see it. But however, God's Eye wins victory, and they have the momentum at the moment. So I think that's pretty much it with Stardom. Let's move on with New Japan World Tag League. New Japan Pro Wrestling Day 13 of World Tag League. Now, we conclude with the A block matches. We already have been announced who will be in the finals, representing, of course, the A block to finish it off to go to the finals to face the winner of the B block. So this is how we start. Our first match, the Gates of Agony, Bishop Khan and Toa Leona taking on Rohei Oiwa and Keito Kiyomiya. Now, of course, we have seen an impressive duel between both Kiyomiya and Oiwa since the beginning. However, that wasn't enough with the powerhouse of the Gates of Agony until they put Oiwa in the gates, the open the gates move, and it was Bishop Khan who picked up the win. Now, our next match, we have Shota Umino and Ren Narita taking on the House of Torture. Now, of course, we're going to see Sho, Kanemaru, and of course, Dick Togo get involved, but something has transpired. Ren Narita decided to sit this one out. He grabbed the chair, got involved. Now, Shota Umino fought all members by himself, even when the ref was knocked out. I was impressed by that. However, the match would have ended if Shota Umino would have won by himself, but apparently Ren Narita got up, he choked him out. But it did give time for Evil to apply everything is evil. So basically they win by tying up to 6 points. But however, they don't make it to the finals. Then this happened. Ren Narita had these shirts that they've been wearing since some point during the tournament. Ren Narita ripped it, and then he's wearing the House of Torture shirt. To someone's surprise, Despy was there in shock to see that. Now keep in mind, Ren Narita it was a member of Strong Style, a unit that was formed between, of course, Minoru Suzuki, Ren Narita himself, and Despy. Now I don't know what Minoru Suzuki will think of this. I feel like right now this is not what they expected. But of course, House of Torture are determined to take control of New Japan in their own way, even though they almost succeeded after the loss of not winning winning the IWGP World Heavyweight title and the KOP title. So don't know what is going to happen till then. But there's a thought that comes in mind. I wouldn't be surprised if Suzuki and Despy decided to recruit Shota Umino into Strong Style. That would be interesting to see. Now, our next match, we have the United Empire. Hinare and Great Khan taking on Chaos, Ishii, and Yano. However, you know that there's going to be moments where Ishii will try to be like the pitbull that he is, that he's not going to back down from anybody. He will keep on fighting no matter what. And that was the case. However, the United Empire were smart enough to deal with Yano with his usual tricks when, of course, he was about to low blow them, or as I like to call him, my monitor. However, that did not work. But, however, Hinare took matters in his own hands when he pinned Ishii when he applied the Streets of Rage. 1, 2, 3. Now, here's the kicker that I don't know if anybody noticed. Ishii is one third of the Never Openweight 6-man tag team champions. I mean, he and any two partners of his choosing could challenge them for that. I mean, I'm sure Hinare will think about that, but we could see that somewhere down the line. Now, the points between both teams, it ended in 8. And of course, I failed to mention Gates of Agony, and they have 4, and of course, Oiwa and Keito Miya 4 as well. So basically, we have a tie on both sides. Now, our main event, we have the Bullet Club War Dogs. Kid and Coughlin taking on TMDK, Haste, and Nichols. Now, of course, the War Dogs are determined to say that they have this one in the bag. They're not going to let any other team to get in their way to get what they want. Of course, they went through every hellhole to pick it up, but it was the War Dogs that picked up the win when they applied a hijack pile driver onto Nichols 1, 2, 3. However, here's the kicker. It appears that both teams, the War Dogs and TMDK, have the 10 points. So basically, they are the ones that will be in the semifinals of this. So they will see who will be representing the A block. But I'm sure, of course, the War Dogs will stop at nothing to get what they want. But TMDK most likely are the fan favorites in this tournament. So we will see what happens until then. But I do know we do have the B block, so it should be coming to a close real soon. I think that's pretty much it right now with New Japan. Let's move on with AEW Dynamite. Okay, AEW Dynamite. As I said before, we continue with more of the Continental Classic in the Gold League. However, we only have two competitors that only are winless at the moment. So this must be a must win for them, or else they will not be able to make it to the next round. Now, however, they will, even if they don't win, they will continue on until the entire tournament is over. Now, our first match, we have John Moxley versus Roosh. Now, you know that this is going to be, as Jim Ross would say, a slobber knocker of the match. These guys will love to fight, beat the hell out of each other. And that is one thing that we could definitely see in this match. However, in this match, it was John Moxley who applied a chokehold after he outmaneuvered Roosh. However, Roosh did not tap out, he just passed out, and the ref made the decision to end the match. When Roosh came to, he realized that it was over, not realizing that he did not win. I mean, it must sting for him, but it is. However, John Moxley is in the lead with 9 points, so that means that he is going to advance. As for Roosh, he is still in it. So, however, he will continue on, but I'm not sure how far to go. Now, during in the stage area of the arena, Rene Paquette met with Roderick Strong and the Kingdom. However, as you know, Roderick Strong has his belief that MJF is none other than the devil. He's trying to implore Samoa Joe to wake up, but he's telling him you're a big boy. But somehow he got out of his wheelchair. How miraculously. Yeah. Now, back in the backstage area, Rene Paquette wanted to talk to MJF, but bumps into Hangman Page, who decided to concede after losing his match and all this. And then MJF decided to come out and pick a fight with them, reminded him about the diamond ring and all that. But however, much like Hangman Page, many people started to ask themselves, who's behind the devil's mask? So MJF accuses Hangman, but Hangman tells him that you have always been honest and tell people that you never lied. So, however, that continues on. But Joe comes out, tried to reason with MJF, saying that right now he's building enemies. He needs to focus at the task at hand. Now, our next match is more of the Continental Classic. We have Mark Briscoe versus Swerve Strickland. Now, keep in mind, Mark Briscoe has to win a match in order to stay alive in the tournament. But however, if he doesn't, he is officially out. Now, the tournament will not end in that way, but he will continue. So you can say that this is one of those matches where, of course, it was a hard-hitting match between both Strickland and uh, Mark Briscoe. I mean, anything could happen. However, there was like moments where you thought this match was over, but it wasn't. But of course, it was the stomp by um by Briscoe, by Swerve Split onto Briscoe to pick up win. So he gets 9 points. So he ties with Moxley. However, Briscoe he's out. So basically, he's eliminated of the tournament, but the tournament is not finished until it's done. Now, during an interview with Renee Paquette, she had a very interesting with Mariah May. Now, we don't know when her first in-ring debut. She had seems like she had a little chit chat with Tony Khan, but she hasn't said who will be her first opponent. However, she's more concerned about Tony Storm's upcoming title match against Sky Blue, but also the guy from Turner Classic Movies, Ben McKeeweek. So we'll see about that. Now, we were supposed to have the tag match, Samoa Joe and MJF, to take on the Devil's Henchmen, but however, that did not go so well. The Henchmen showed up, and then when things came to, the Devil reappeared in the screen, But however, we do see MJF was knocked out with a bottle. We don't know what happened. Samoa Joe actually sprinted to find out if he was okay or not. We just don't know what's the condition. So we'll see where that leads. Now, as you know, Moxley does his a little promo thing. He was saying all this and that until Swerve Strickland, who was saying that he's determined to win. So right now, Swerve is confident enough to believe that he can beat Moxley in Garland, Texas. But the real question is, can he beat someone like Moxley, who loves to fight, who's determined to win no matter what? Well, we'll see. So I'm sure that there's going to be a tiebreaker after this one. Now, the guy from Turner Classic Movie, Ben Makiwig, I think that's his name. So basically presented something about Tony Storm, and then of course Tony Storm made her way to the ring. As you know, she's defending her women's title against Sky Blue, who last time was disrespectful to her and all this and that. However, I thought the match was pretty good because we have seen a new side of Sky Blue, but was it be enough for her to dethrone Tony Storm? The obvious question, no. She applied a hip attack and then the Storm Zero. One, two, three, it was over. Now, during the post match, we do see, of course, the return of Rio. We haven't seen her recently. I know the last thing I heard that she actually did a trip to Singapore. Don't know much after that, but that's pretty much it. As you know, Rio calls her shot, going after the women's title. So she may looks like be the next challenger. Now our next match, much like we saw with Mark Briscoe, Jay Lethal also has a must win, but he faces against a guy who he knows all too well. We're talking about Jay White. So basically, that's a pretty good thing. However, we know that these two guys have the tendency to have seconds that could help them win the match, but this time they're all alone. Now, Lethal seems like he had everything under control. He was so close in pinning Jay White, but Jay White was able to reverse it and then boom, pick up the win. So he's currently at 6 point. As for Lethal, he's limited out. Now our main event, we have the TNT title. Christian Cage defends it against his former best friend, Adam Copeland. Now you know that Christian Cage would do whatever it takes to win. Not to mention right now, Killswitch and Nick Wayne are not there. But it seems like the match was going exactly how it's going to be. But out of nowhere, here comes Shayna Wayne, the widow of Buddy Wayne and the mother of Nick Wayne, showed up. Now I kind of figured where this was going to go. She seems like she was going to hurt Christian Cage, but she whacked Adam Copeland with the belt. Now, I'm sure this is payback for what happened to Nick Wayne a couple weeks ago. If you guys remember, Adam Copeland applied the Conchento right in front of Shayna. Now, the obvious thing, Christian was a bit surprised. He didn't have that smile, like he was confused. Now, I wouldn't be surprised that if next week he tells Shayna for thank you for helping me win the belt. But I wouldn't be surprised if she didn't do it for him. She did it for Nick. Because as you know, Christian Cage has declared her as a bad mom who doesn't even play her cards right. But we'll see what happens. But as you know, later after the match, after that, Christian applied the kill switch to finish him off, and then of course he breaks his neck to determine to take him out once and for all. Because as you know, he accused them saying that he tried to steal his thunder. But Adam Copeland didn't care about that. But of course, Adam Copeland can come back. We will see what happens until then. But as you know, we continue with more of the Continental Classic this coming weekend. We just see what happens until then. But right now, I think we're done with everything, with all the reviews. Before we head to our news updates, I want to put out something for everybody if you're interested. So here it is. Hey everybody, if you know what today is Wednesday. Normally when we do Wednesday, you know that it's AEW Time will review. However, Wednesday is also a day where I do something else outside of this YouTube that relates to the DWZ brand. If you guys are interested, I do have a podcast if you want to check out. So this podcast, of course, is DWZ Podcast with J Ross. So you guys can check me out on Spotify or any other place you can find me. However, on Google Podcasts, it will be removed next year. You probably wouldn't see me there. I don't know if you guys can still find me on Apple Podcasts. But most likely you can find me on Spotify. So if you're interested, check me out. But on this latest episode on the podcast, I do have some various topics. We talk about Stardom, of course, with the recent injuries, a brand new president for the Bushi Road company that owns Stardom, and all this other stuff. We also talk about CM Punk's return to WWE. As you know, we know what happened after the main event of Survivor Series, and of course the shoot with Seth Rollins. What does the talent think about him returning? And of course, does Triple H lost the trust of his talent? Well, we talk about that. And of course, we give our thoughts about the brand new tournament, the AEW Continental Classic. Of course, I talked about what it does, who's involved, and of course, it became like the modern day All Japan Pro Wrestling with the Triple Crown. And of course, it feels like something that we've seen in Japan. And of course, it calls the round robin tournament. Then, of course, we talk about Unagi Sayaka, talking about her self produced show. About recently, as you know, she has made her first booking, who's going to be involved, and wrestlers who she's been determined to recruit. So we'll see about all of that. And I think that's pretty much it right now. So let's return to our schedule program. Hey everybody, so welcome to a news update. So we only have little that we have. Now, we have some interesting developments and updates on the promotions themselves. And this is for all of 2024. DDT has announced for their New Year's special that will take place on the 3rd of January. We have Kuroshio, Tokyo, Japan, better known as Ikemenjiro. He will be facing against Danshuko Dino. I don't know if he ever met someone like them. I mean, Danshuko Dino, he's a bit of a fruitcake. But it will be an interesting thing for Kuroshio to, or Ikemenjiro, to deal with. Now, as you know, the start of 2024, there is the latest wrestling Revolver show called Mox versus Gringo. They announced for the first time ever these two guys will be facing each other. We ha- we have the Monster Hunter Matthew Palmer versus and Ace Austin. This is going to be the first time. Now, as you know, I recently been talking about the upcoming 24 for West Coast Pro for Ill Mattered. They announced for Alpha Zoe and Chris Hero that will be participating in Ill Matter on the 27th of January for West Coast Pro. And I think that's pretty much it what we have. So let's just call it a day. Well, I hope everybody enjoys this episode coming up. As you know, we have Thursday Wrestling. Um, It features, of course, MLW, Impact Wrestling, and Ring of Honor. However, recently, as you know, I've been trying to catch up with All Japan Pro Wrestling. It appears that we're getting close. I think it might have finished, or we're still drawing to a close. We don't know yet, but I will catch up as soon as possible. But I think right now, we'll just end things like this how it is, and I'll see you guys on the next episode. So, um, I'll see you guys in the next DWZ time, same DWZ channel. I must bid all of you adieu. So, goodbye, and have a nice day. Bang.